Assalamu alaikum to one and all. So today I have begun with your botany session as someone requested me to start up with your reproduction in plants, as this chapter is very important for your examination point of view. So let us begin with reproduction in plants. So when I talk about reproduction in general, what is reproduction? Reproduction is the biological process by which new individuals are or new organisms, offsprings are produced from their parents or parent. Why I am specifying here parent or parents? Because reproduction is a fundamental feature and it occurs in almost all the organisms that have life in them, and this can be divided into the methods of reproduction can be divided into sexual and asexual. So when I talk about asexual, I may say only parent. When it is sexual reproduction, parents, where a male and female are involved. So in asexual reproduction, new plants are obtained without production of seeds. Without production of seeds. It is a type of asexual reproduction, no flowers, no seeds. It is a type of asexual reproduction in which new plants are produced from roots, stem, leaves, buds, from the vegetative parts. Since reproduction is through the vegetative part of the plant, it can also be called as vegetative propagation. Can also be called as vegetative propagation. And as I said you, methods of reproduction can be sexual and asexual reproduction. So today in this session, we'll be dealing with asexual reproduction. Today we'll be dealing with asexual reproduction. What is asexual reproduction? When I talk about asexual reproduction, it requires only one parent and offsprings are an exact copy of the parent, or a clone can be formed. As it is, only one parent is involved and almost all the genetic information is meted. So that's the reason, due to that, all the formed organisms will be exact copy of the parent, or they are almost clones of their parents. And asexual reproduction here, organisms that reproduces asexually cannot develop much variety because they are copying the original organisms exactly. We will see how. This does not only allow for evolution of species. This does not allow for evolution of species, right? New species cannot be evolved. Always only the same variety of organisms can be produced. Not very much useful for genetic variations, or even not useful for natural selection. Even not even useful for the evolution of species. So each organism is the exact or same as of parents. So this process takes place relatively short period of time and can produce 1 to hundreds of offsprings. In a short period of time, large number of organisms can be produced by this technique, that is asexual reproduction. Let us learn some of the methods of asexual reproduction. Some of the methods of asexual reproduction that you come across in your class 11th botany. I'm talking about unit 3, I guess. So here you can come across with binary fission, budding, fragmentation, and spore formation. Okay, let us learn each one one by one. Let us start with binary fission. Might be you have learned about all this in your lower classes, right? In your 10th class also, in reproduction chapter, might be you have learned about this binary fission. There, when we talk about binary fission, the single-celled organism like amoeba, paramecium, euglena, if we talk about the protozoans or monorans, if I talk about monorans, the bacteria that I have taken the example here. Here you can see the bacteria. This is the bacterial cell. The bacterial cell consists of, we all know, highly coiled DNA structure, that is the nuclear area. The cell elongates and the DNA replicates. You can see here how the DNA is getting replicated, and the DNA replicates and the cell wall divides. Okay, the constriction appears in the middle of the organism. The nucleus divides and two daughter bacterial cells are formed. So this division, where a single cell can be divided into two equal half, That division is nothing but you call it as binary fission. Binary fission. So, but why I have taken this bacteria under plant kingdom, ma'am? Why? Because as we all know, bacteria consist of cell wall. Cell wall is the attribute only seen in plants, but as this one feature that is seen even in bacteria also, and some of the bacteria are, yeah, photosynthetic. They can prepare their own food material. Because of that, even even in plant kingdom also, or yeah, we can undergo in botany also, we can undergo the process of binary fission as it is occurring in this photosynthetic bacteria that consist of the chloroplast and carry the process of photosynthesis. Coming to the next type of asexual reproduction here we are going to discuss is budding. It is budding. So here we go with this budding. When I talk about budding, budding can be seen in yeast. So yeast are also the organisms. Okay, they are single cell, unicellular. This is the mother cell I can talk. And what happens? A small bud appears on the body of an organism, like bulging, like, okay, like a pimple, like a bulge. Slowly, the bulge protrudes, that it develops, it increases. Okay, developing of the bud you can see, and the nucleus moves, and even the other parts of the cell also moves. So whatever the mother cells consist of can be seen even in the daughter cell, or the bud. We call this as the bud. So that's the reason the name is given as budding. So small projection or small bud appears. That bud develops and form complete organism, even, yes, passing the nucleus, cytoplasm, and other content of the cell to the bud. And like that, at one time, several buds can also be formed. Several buds. Budding in yeast can be seen, like one bud can give rise to several buds. So, what is budding? Budding is a type of asexual reproduction where organism develop a small, projection or a bud-like outgrowth. That outgrowth develops into complete organism. Here, after the division of the mother cell, okay, you cannot see the mother cell because it is only dividing into two daughter cells. But here, when you see mother cell also there and daughter cells are also attached. Later on, during favorable conditions, they may detach from the parent and grow as an individual yeast, or they live in colonies and grow along with the parent or the mother cell. Now next, you can see the microscopic view. Yeah, oh my god, ma'am, so many. Yes dear, so many. You can see, students, here so many types of one above the other. All these are the birds. So how they are growing in colonies. So this is the microscopic view of the yeast only. So the picture I have kept for your easy understanding here. And next we will move on to what is fragmentation. So in this form, the organism the cut into small fragments accidentally, okay, accidentally, or to prevent from climatic conditions or from their enemies and all. It divides into several fragments. You can see here, this is the example of a spirogyra. That body is filamentous. You can see the body is filamentous. It is a type of algae only. Body is filamentous. Accidentally, if the organism is dividing into small bits or small fragment, each fragment have the capacity to divide into a complete organism. Identical, almost identical. So the nucleus, the septa, the chloroplast present over there also divides, and each fragment develops into a complete organism. This type of reproduction can be called as fragmentation. It can be seen even in some of the bryophytes, which are called as the amphibian of the plant kingdom, bryophyta, liverworts and all. There also you can see gemma cups and all. There also you can see this fragmentation. Okay, if the liverwort divides and it can develop. If you want to see the picture of this, here I can show you. Yeah. So this is the gemme of the bryophytes. Even you can see this is the gemme cup. This is the cup here. Inside you have the gemme, and this complete is the thallus. So if accidentally, if this bryophyte, the liverwort dividing, each fragment or each part can develop into a complete liverwort. So this also comes under the example of fragmentation. This also comes under the, fragmentation example. So this is also one type of, uh, asexual reproduction. Now moving on to, after fragmentation, let us move on to sporulation. Sporulation is nothing but formation of spores. Have you seen what are spores? How spores look? Spores are small, granule like, very small, round, granule like, microscopic and motile. It can move from one place to another place due to wind current, air current, or even by certain vectors. Animals or insects also can carry the spores from one place to another place. They are very small, microscopic, and can be easily, discharged or moved due to air and water currents or wind currents. So sporulation. So sporulations is nothing but formation of spores. So let us see here where you can see this process of spore formation. So in this form, parent organism produces tiny spores. So you can see here a mushroom, okay, and that is releases small spores. You can see small spores. They, whenever they are falling on a suitable substratum, okay, they can develop into an exact copy of that parent. So one more mushroom, another mushroom, so several, how many spores are formed, and if the conditions are suitable and it is getting the proper material for its survival, then that grows into a complete organism, and that will be the exact copy. So how many spores are released at one time? Some hundreds and thousands. So many fungi can be grown, because mushroom is a type of fungi, but it is the largest fungi that can be seen with the naked eye. That is only the difference. Other fungi are very small. Yes, ma'am. Once I have seen the pickle bottle and I could see some cottony growth. Okay, I opened the pickle bottle and I could see some cottony growth inside it. And I said to my mom, pickle is okay. I had it, but at some corner, I could see some white cottony growth is growing this area. I said to my mom, she said, okay, I will find out. And she forgot. After 2-3 days, when I have seen the complete bottle, I could see that small outgrowth in that. So why is it so? What exactly happens there? This is, yeah, as I said to you, due to the formation of spores, fungi also divided, in large numbers. So within 2 or 3 days, you have seen small area of that cottony appearance. But after 2-3 days, when again you open the pickle bottle, the complete bottle filled with this fungi, white cottony appearance, right? And even this spores not only seen in rhizopus. This is the example of mushrooms. Rhizopus we have seen, mushrooms we have seen, even penicillium notatum, okay, or aspergillus. All these organisms also forms the spores beta, which are released here. They are released from sporangium. So here in rhizopus, it is released from the sporangium, the outer part, and here we call it as conidium, conidiophore. The conidiophore consists of conidia inside it. Conidias are nothing but the spores only. So spores can also be called as conidia if it is present in penicillium, aspergillus. Okay, they releases this conidiophores. They have sporangiophores, sporangiophores. And the spores are released in rhizopus, but in penicillium and in aspergillus, if I'm talking about, they have conidiophores, conidium, and they releases the conidia, and they are nothing but similar to the spores only. Each one, when they are falling on the substratum, again they grow into a new individual. So this is the example of rhizopus you are seeing. And ma'am, zoospores. What is this zoospores, ma'am? Chlamydomonas. Might be you all know what are chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas are also type of algae, right? They have flagella, but why they almost look like an animal, ma'am? Presence of a nucleus, a single-celled organism, but it is because of the presence of chloroplast. Yes, parent cell, we call it as zoosporangium, and this zoosporangium, because of the presence of this chloroplast and the nucleus, okay, each one develops into a small cell, and the parent cell converts into zoosporangium, and the small growing daughter chlamydomonas are called as zoospores. So during favorable conditions, the zoosporangium, the parent cell, burst open n number of zoospores. So zoospores are also a type of spores that are seen in chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is a type of algae that undergoes the process of Spore formation. Oh, not only that, even you can see formation of spores in some of the higher plants like pteridophytes and bryophytes. Till now, what we have seen, thallophyte and all algae, very small organisms that comes under a separate category, algae and fungi, thallophyta. But when I talk about, bryophyta and pteridophyta example, the best example for pteridophyta I can give is fern plants. Yeah, you can see all these are the fern plants. So spore formations, here also you can see all these brown color around are nothing but we call it as sporophylls. So these sporophylls also, when they grow and during suitable conditions, when they touch with the ground or when they fall off accidentally, again each one develop a new fern plant. I just, yeah, you can see the figure very clearly. So this is the spore formation that can seen not only in fungi, not only in green algae, but also in bread molds, non-flowering plants also such as pteridophytes, right? Fern plant that you are watching here. So spores are produced and each spore develops into a new offspring which will be identical to the parent. So spore formation we have completed, and we have seen how the variations are there in spore formation. Sporophylls are different, zoospores are different, conidia are different, and spores are different, okay, in fungi, in rhizopus, in penicillium, aspergillus, right, and chlamydomonas. Yes, ma. And at last, natural vegetative propagation. After learning about this, as I said you that asexual reproduction can also be called as a type of vegetative propagation, as vegetative parts are used. That is what we have seen how the process is taking. But here again I am focusing on natural vegetative propagation. Then higher plants, beta. Higher plants, no doubt they develop, all the different parts, well developed roots, well developed leaves. In spite of that, some of the plants naturally they have the natural mechanism of undergoing the process of reproduction without without fusion of male and female gametes. Such type of vegetative propagation can also be called as natural vegetative propagation. No need to take care of it, beta. No one to take care of this happens naturally. And some of the examples for that are rhizomes, bulbs, corms, tubers. You can see here onion is the example for bulb, and potato is the example for tubers, underground, tubers. And yeah, you can see here even garlic also comes under your bulbs, okay. When I talk about this, ginger comes under ginger, or turmeric, this all comes under your underground, stems, we call it as rhizome. So all these are the examples for your natural vegetative propagation. And very important example here is the bryophyllum leaves. The leaves of bryophyllum develop small adventitious buds, beta. These birds are called as adventitious birds. They appear like a small plant with the roots. Small plants with the roots. Might be you can see here, I just, increase it. Yes, ma'am, adventitious birds. If these leaves come in contact with the soil, and this plant again develops into a new plant. So what a good process of carrying the process of reproduction, how germination takes place in even eyes of potato. I have done this when I am in intermediate. My mom is also a BPC student, so she said me to remove this and plant it in the soil. When my ma'am explained about this, so I did this and I could develop a complete plant of potato. But I was very eager to remove that. Within a month or two, I could see green leaves. And mom said, like, after the leaves wilt, you pluck it from the roots. But no, that much of patience to me. I put it, I plugged it much earlier before the leaves were wilting. Then potatoes were there in, potatoes got developed, but all of them were very small, very small. Only two were large, I can say. You also can do that. This is the good season now, as it is raining and all. If you have a garden at your home, just cut the eyes of the potato little deeper, okay, little deeper, and put those eyes of potatoes. Or even onion also, you take a use and throw glass, put some soil in it, and keep the onion in it. Yeah, you can see how bulbs are growing, how corms. So no need of proper care and all, you can do it. So it's a very good experience when you do it by yourself, and the enjoyment you feel. Yes, so you can do it. Being a science student, try this. Coming on to, at last, the advantages and disadvantages, we will discuss about asexual reproduction. As we were discussing from the beginning, advantages of asexual reproduction, it uses very less energy, not necessary to find a partner, right? Only single organism can only divide, and offspring is usually well adapted to its environment because of the success of the parent, because only the one parent is required. Okay, no energy is utilized, and that can be develop or produces many offsprings. So that is a very good advantage of the asexual reproduction. But when it comes to disadvantages, asexual reproduction, as I said you before also, does not adopt all, like, variations cannot be seen. Almost everyone, look exact copy, okay, of the parent. Okay, less useful for genetic variations, no more genetic variations, and evolution of species cannot be seen. Same variety of organisms will be produced, right? If we came to know that, okay, ma'am, this plant developed this, potato has developed, but potatoes are very small and the taste is not that good, and if they are undergoing the process of this, birds of eyes, and they are reproducing and reproducing, same variety we get it. If you want to get a good variety, healthy variety and all, for that, sexual reproduction plays a very important role. So here the species does not adopt, all the useful characters, and very slowly, of circumstance just changes and all, and risk of sudden disappearing of that special species of organism, continuously on and on going, binary fission, binary fission, binary fission, the organism can become very weak, and they cannot further undergo the process of that. So sometimes, for a short period of time, extinction of that organism can occur at one place, but other places you can again find out those organisms. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of asexual reproduction. So till here I am stopping. We will continue about sexual reproduction in plants in our next class. Okay, I will come up with botany and zoology, one day zoology and one day botany. If you have any queries or anything, you can just message me, so I will check the column. So we will meet again in the next class tomorrow. By that time, have a good day, good night.